You are now listening to About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills. Rom Wills is an entrepreneur and personal coach who has helped people reach their fullest potential personally and professionally. Take it away, Rom.
Thank you, Marshall. Serving other businesses. Now, speaking of Marshall, he's doing a great job for me because he helps my businesses out in other ways too, right? Serving other businesses is a great business option, business to business thing, right? And you have plenty of businesses out there, they never interact with the public. That's just one level of business. You can create a business that serves other businesses, right? Like, I know a gentleman, he wants to get a cleaning service, right? And that's what a lot of cleaning services do, right? They serve other businesses. They don't interact with the public at all. They don't serve directly the public. Like if you go to these office buildings, I knew a woman, she was like a second mother to me. She made her extra money just by cleaning office buildings. And she had people working for her and everything, right? Or if you see, or you think about who supplies these businesses, right? Like wholesaling. And I've talked about wholesaling before, but if you think about wholesalers, they rarely interact with the public. Now, some do, but for the most part, they serve other businesses, like all these restaurants, right? All these restaurants got to get food from someplace else, right? Or if you think, whether it's a food distribution company, whether it's directly from a farm. So these businesses, these distribution companies, they're not dealing with the public at all. They're dealing with the businesses. Or you get businesses where they might do payroll services or something, right? You get these businesses like that, or it could be anything. But sometimes remember, every single business, every single one, they need supplies, they need services, accounting services. Like many businesses, if they have multiple employees, they don't pay directly. Like I remember when I worked for this little small retail shop, right? The woman paying us never paid us directly herself. Her money, she had a service that paid us. And they cut the check, they took out taxes and everything. All right. If you can create a business, that's actually a good business if you don't have to deal with the public. Now, see, the key there, though, you have to treat the fellow businesses that you deal with as the customer. Now, it's a different vibe. It's a different vibe because basically for them, you just have to do a great job, right? You just have to do a great job. You don't have to deal with the stuff you deal with in public. You don't have to deal with irate customers or something like that, or somebody trying to get over on you. But you do have to be very professional, because if you handling their payroll or you supplying them, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference in how you interact with them. But it can be lucrative, and especially if it's in an industry that can stay in business. Let me use the food thing for example. Briefly, you have to say it wrong. Briefly, when I was still married, my wife used to make cookies for people. Like we at its height, we had like maybe 4 places we delivered cookies to. So we didn't interact with the customers at all. Now, we might have got feedback from the customers through the businesses. They might say, hey, we want this or all of that. But they had 4 stores. They had 4 stores. Well, no, it was like 2 restaurants, a bookstore that sold food, and like a neighborhood grocery store. All right. So it was like we're making a little, we're getting a little bit of money, but we're not even dealing with the public directly. And a lot of people can do that. Like a lot of people who, like you got some folks out here who can make, they might make some little food or something. Like I knew this one company, they made popcorn. And, they pop the corn, and then instead of putting like the regular salt and butter on it, they put like different spices on it. Get it packaged up and take it around to different stores. Because remember, especially, with all these little small retail stores, whether it's food or clothing stores, they need a supplier, right? You can do that for clothing. You know, when I had my sports thing, I must say Rom had 1,000. It seems like I did, though. You know, briefly I had, I was selling like some shirts. Actually, the shirts are still good. I still have one of the shirts. It was a line of sportswear. And what I do, I hit up a couple stores and they were selling my product. And one thing about that, even when even doing the publishing, you know, I had one point I had a network of like over 30 stores where I was dealing with directly just to sell my books. Right? So I wasn't dealing with the public at all, and then all I had to do was collect money from the stores. Now, the only drawback from that is these other businesses need to stay in business. I'll use the publishing thing again. One thing that hurt me was a lot of these stores went out of business. This is around the time when ebooks became more popular and the brick and mortar stores started going out, right? Now they're making a slow comeback, but that's the only drawback. It needs to be, you want to deal with businesses that are likely to stay around, but ultimately you don't know, because it's retail apocalypse, right? Like recently, Sears declared bankruptcy, right? Now, people might see it as just Sears, but then you got to think about, okay, what vendors use that store? And when they close these stores, that vendor has fewer stores to sell their stuff. So that affects them. So it's not just the store, but it's the other thing. And see, that's the only thing. That's the only thing. That might be the only drawback, is you need these businesses to do well. Now, you could do what some businesses do, especially like if you look at some of these luxury clothing brands, like some like Polo or Nike, right? Well, the thing that they do is, they deal with several different department stores and everything, but they also open up their own stores. Now, if you're in like retail or food or something, that might not be a bad thing to do. Like I say, like Sylvia's restaurant in Harlem. Okay, they have their main restaurant where they do stuff, but then they also have products that they send out to other stores, grocery stores and stuff. So that might be that might be actually a good thing if you have a product. Yeah, still get them in stores, but then have some type of outlet somewhere, right? And I mean, that could really do. Then you really putting yourself in a stronger position, right? Because like even with like all these retail stores closing, I can guarantee brands like Nike and Polo not really losing sleep. You know, they'll just say they would end up happening. A lot of these luxury brands, they'll end up doing something like creating their own stores anyway, because people still going to buy them. People still going to buy Polos. People still buy Nike. They're going to buy some of these like brands, and that's another thing to do. But really think in terms of what you're doing for other businesses is great, lucrative, and you know what? It could be a good avenue for someone who might not have the extroverted personality to deal with customers. It you know what? Dealing with customers, it takes a certain personality. You know, it takes a certain personality to deal with it. In fact, I'm gonna do my next one on that. It's amazing how I do this and think about the next one I'm going to do. Wait. Hold on for a sec. All right, I just had to write that down. Yeah, so because it does take a certain type of personality to deal with customers, and that might not be you, and that's cool. That's cool. Like, people have to realize when you're dealing in business, you got to deal with what you can. And you can't force yourself to do something. You might not be the type who can deal day in and day out with the different personalities of customers, but you might be like that business type of person who could say, you know what? I can't really deal with them, but I can deal with other business people, because other business people, it's like, boom, this the service, boom. They either take it or leave it. They ain't going to haggle you or bring back stuff or anything like that. So it might be a bit easier. So anyway, right, keep in mind, business to business, that could really help you. So anyway, let's go make that money.